Okay, it's another week and another episode of The Last of Us. Now, we are getting very close to the end of the season. Today, I just watched episode 5, and it opened up with this discussion about a lady sealing her, which you find out to be son, at the bottom of the hospital. And it was okay. I mean, I appreciate a little bit of backstory. That's fine. She was kind of talking about how they were trying to get the supplies out, and they decided the bottom of the hospital is like a no go. Like don't even bother. They had to seal everybody in. Everybody died. So you come back to that later on in the episode. Ashley was asking me about it, and I it's a new thing they made for the show. I don't remember that happening in the games unless it was like something in the one of the little letters or something scattered throughout the levels. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. This episode they're going after Nora. At the end of the last episode, we saw Dina start to catch something on the walkie-talkies, and she's trying to pinpoint it down. So we knew that Nora was at the hospital, so that's where they were going, and they were kind of triangulating where they should go. And this was interesting because in the game, Dina was too sick. She wasn't, able to go out on this excursion. She was pretty much stuck back at the theater. So this was all kind of new. They were going into that one long building. And I don't really buy the stalker clickers. I don't know. We go in there and they're talking about it beforehand. They're like, yeah, the army's outside. There can't be a big horde in here. We should be fine. We've dealt with situations like this before, and I'll say that the way that this scene happened was pretty cool. They're walking in. You see like the little piece of flesh on the ground in the shadows as they were kind of walking by, and that first shot where they look up and they see it kind of crouching down from the light, that was pretty creepy. And the stalkers are creepy, and I like the design of it, like a creepy night creature lurking around in the shadows and anticipating your movements. But that's not really what these are, and I don't like the idea of the cordyceps virus making like these zombie like figures smart. It should, if anything, you want to say like, okay, they can attach to the surroundings, they spread their mycelium, you step on that, it triggers them, they trigger other zombies. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. The clickers kind of alerting other ones, that's fine too. But the fact that you have these smart, agile thinking things, I don't really get that. And we've already seen the progression of the infected. And at what point would they become really smart and then regress back into something else that's like stupid? Like, there is a type of infected, really two types of infected from the game that we haven't seen yet. So I'm curious how that's going to work into it. But these stalkers, I don't, I don't really buy it that much. I don't really like it, and it was a creepy scene, and I was kind of curious what was going to happen. I thought the army was going to come in and save them, and I thought that's how they were going to find their way to Nora. But no, Jesse, boom, Jesse comes in, totally saves their butt, which was awesome. I'm a huge fan of Jesse. So then they're running away from the army because, of course, the army heard all of the gunfire because, of course, Ellie just started shooting. And yeah, they made their way to the park, and this is where they encounter the scars. Just like it happened in the game, you hear the whistling. It's kind of creepy, but this time instead of them shooting Ellie, they shot Dina. So I'm guessing that now takes her out of the picture for the rest of the season. I mean, she was shot in the leg. She's pregnant. She can't be going out. Jesse's back. He's going to be like, yeah, Ellie, what are we doing here? He did mention that Tommy came with him, so now we're basically back to how it was in the game. In the game, Tommy went first, and then they went after, and then Jesse came after them. So this is a little bit different, but basically now we're back to the same point in the game where Ellie's going to be on her own because what I think is going to happen in the next episode is Jesse's going to try and just be like, all right, we're going to wait here for Tommy and we're going to leave. And then that's when Ellie is going to push forward and try to find Abby. So there's going to be some conflict there. We have 2 episodes left. So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I mean, we did see more of the scene with Ellie and Nora, which in the game, it kind of cuts away from a lot of what happens down there. You don't really know what happened. You just know that Ellie got information out of Nora. So you see Ellie like interrogating her in this, but specifically before that, Nora flat out said to Ellie what Joel did. And I thought that was cool because in the game, she was clearly shooken up afterwards. So we'll see that on the next episode. But that's just a cool touch. Like, yeah, she flat out said what hasn't been said to Ellie. I guess she didn't make it out yet. The episode ends with the flashback. So there are a lot of flashbacks throughout the game. As you're playing, you'll go through a section, then you'll have a flashback to Joel, and then you go back to the current time and kind of back and forth. So it's cool to see they're doing that. I was expecting him to come back at least for an episode or 2. So we did get that cool little touch. As they were going down through the hospital, you did see like the infected kind of into the wall. And I guess the longer they stay there, they just start breathing out these spores. And I don't remember them ever showing that off before, but I thought that was kind of cool. Like that's another chain in the life cycle. Like at a certain point, you just get stuck to your surroundings and they just take over your body and breathe spores, which is pretty sweet. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. The only other thing I'm going to hold off on is a potential boss fight that happened in this area. We don't know if Ellie is out of the hospital yet, so we'll see what happens. Maybe after the flashback, it'll pick back up in the depths of that hospital, but I don't know. I kind of feel like they need to move. Like they still have a lot of stuff they have to cover in 2 episodes, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure a way out, but they're kind of running out of time. So, what were your thoughts on the episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. I liked it. This Ellie definitely seems like she's way less hard and way less strategic than the Ellie from the game. The Ellie in the game did everything. She was like a solo commando. This Ellie is like impulsive and rash and like more comedic and kind of childish. Like the fact that they get there and they see that dead body pile right under the prophet's sign on the wall, and she's like, maybe we should turn around. Maybe this was a mistake. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, it's to me that was so out of character. It's like Ellie was so driven for revenge. Why is she second guessing this? I didn't like that part. I felt like she should have stuck to her guns a little bit more, considering what the story is. But I don't know. Yeah. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. Until next time, I will see you later. Goodbye.